Alright, so we're going into the first sketch one. This was pretty straightforward. You just use the circle tools to create these circles right here, and then the line tool to draw these straight lines, and you really just draw and click your mouse in order for that to do. So now going into the second sketch, this was a little more complex, but yet again, still just drawing. So getting into the main components right here, if we click on the sketch, you can see the straight lines and such, and the two lines right there, which I just created. I used that like half circle tool to create that, and then for these side things I use this curve tool. And yeah, cancel out of that. I also just did two sketches for that construction line and other half circle, and then for that box too. I don't think you have to do this, but it's just a good way of doing two sketches on one plane. So now we're going to our extrude task. So for this, for when you want to extrude an object, you first want to sketch it out. If you go into the sketch component right here, make sure all the lines are touching and stuff and connecting. You got to use that tool up there. And then when you extrude, you could change the depth and what parts you want to separate or extrude. And then yeah, you just click on those faces of the sketch. And we made sketch 2 or extrude 2 shorter than extrude 1. This is, I'm pretty sure this is the revolve. Yeah. This one for revolve, you just sketch it out, straight lines, put the construction lines, and then you go into your revolve feature and select on the parts you want to revolve. Yeah, it's that little kind of 3D circle up there. And the revolve, you can either do one direction, symmetric, and then full, which is just a full 360. So yeah, not too complicated. The paperclip starts to get a little complicated. You first draw your sketch path, which is just half circles and straight lines. The drawing for this wasn't too bad. And then you got to make another sketch, profile sketch, which is a circle. And this is on, you got to put on a different plane. And then you got to attach it to the path sketch. And then for the sweep, you just click the circle as the region, and then you just select everything on that line. This was the loft. It's for the base of like a spray bottle thing. The main thing we really looked for doing on this was using different planes. As you can see, I added in those planes to help distance the different sketches. So the bottom sketch was the biggest, then we go to the middle sketch was the second biggest, and the top sketch is the smallest. And basically what the extrude feature does, it like kind of shrinks those down into like a cone-ish look. Now we're moving on to the cup. Yeah, so the first thing you gotta do with cup is sketch it out, and then you can use the revolve feature to make it 3D. Then you gotta draw a path on the same plane you drew the revolve sketch for the cup. But then if for the you gotta make a plane that's going off the sketch, going off the path of the cup, because then on that plane you want to attach another piece, and then you're able to do the full sweep. This was the only challenge one I was able to fully complete. This one it took a little trial and error, but now I understand it really well. So you gotta first extrude all these parts and stuff. After you do the main sketch, make sure your degrees is set inward so that it goes from big to small in the middle. Then you want to make a draft of the two sides and a mirror of the back. And then you fillet it. And because in order to select those, then you are able to create that exact circular pattern. And when you do that, make sure there's a 5 count. And then the circle is another component which you added on to the face of sketch 1, or face of extrude 2, my bad. And then you do another extrude, but you do remove instead of add, so it goes through, and make sure it's, through all 2. That puts a hole directly through. And then you do this feature hole to create little dots all around, and then you gotta do a circular pattern for that too. And then extrude 5, it was just kind of touching up the middle and removing that gap in between. And then, the chamfer just kind of, I couldn't really tell the difference, but I think it just smoothed it out. And then for the stair step, this is the farthest I came. I was struggling. We went over this in class, but I was struggling with trying to copy those little divots within the stair step. So yeah, understand it though.